Live from our studios in Kukumlemle, it's a pleasure to have you. The details now. The Electoral Commission will be pursuing at least 20 changes to Ghana's selection process. This includes a continuous voter registration exercise, a change in the close of voting time, and another layer to the collation system. That's the outcome of a two-day inter-party advisory committee meeting, IPAC meeting, that was aimed at reviewing the 2020 elections. Chairperson of the Commission, Jean Mensah, announced the proposal earlier this week at that meeting. Listen.
We propose as a commission to close the polls at 3 p.m. rather than 5 p.m. In 2019, the commission announced its decision to close the polls at 3 p.m. rather than 5 p.m. in the 2020 election. Nonetheless, owing to the COVID-19 pandemic and the stringent and necessarily time-consuming safety protocols we instituted at our polling stations, we were compelled to put this proposal on hold. Over the past months, however, the proposal has resurfaced, and we believe that this is the time to discuss it and to reach some consensus on it. Flowing from our experience in the 2020 elections, it was revealed that this is a workable proposal, as by 1 p.m., most polling stations were empty. Therefore, this is a reform we intend to discuss at this meeting today. Again, we propose to do away with the system of periodic nationwide registration exercises and institute an all-round system where citizens who turn 18 or persons who have not previously registered may visit any district's office in Ghana with their Ghana card or passport and register as voters. This will help to do away with the nationwide registration exercises and go a long way to reducing the cost of our elections. We further propose a year-round exhibition system that will enable citizens check their registration details on their smartphones and other mobile devices. Citizens would not need to wait for an organized exhibition exercise to check their details. They will be able to do so all year round. Again, we propose to build further efficiency into our collation process by focusing on data entry only at the Constituency Collation Center.
That's EC Chairperson Jean Mensah making some proposals there. So some of them were approved, and let me run you through those. So the approved or agreed proposals, this one is on registration. So IPAC has agreed to implement the continuous voter registration exercise to enable citizens who turned 18 years and those who had not previously registered to do so. To set up a committee to deliberate on the implementation modalities for the continuous voter registration, and continuous voter registration should be implemented with proof of citizenship being limited to the use of Ghana card and Ghana passport, since the guarantee system is often abused. On exhibition, IPAC agreed to introduce an all-year-round voter exhibition exercise through the use of technology, that's the SMS short code. Additionally, maintain the periodic mass verification at exhibition centers. Also, to put in place a cut-off time for the continuous voter registration exhibition to allow for the compilation of the register for voting on election day. On filing of nominations, the 5-day period for filing of nominations introduced in 2020 should be maintained. 2, the period set aside to enable the political parties to obtain signatures from their supporters should be increased. 3, the period for election campaign should be defined. It should commence after the nominations are filed. This is a very interesting point. And number 4, encourage nominations of female and persons with disabilities by reducing their filing fees by 50%. On special voting, a current arrangement whereby the media, security services and election officials are allowed to apply and vote under the special voting period should be maintained until such time that the process is fully entrenched. So these were the ones that were agreed on. So not all the proposals were accepted. Let me run you through those that require further deliberation. On exhibition, validation of voters during exhibition to indicate that voters will be available for the impending elections requires further deliberation, according to IPAC. For filing of nominations, to encourage nominations of females and persons with disabilities by reducing their filing fees by 50%. And the refund of nomination deposits for all contesting candidates. And on elections, the recommendation to have data entry only at the constituency collation center so as to reduce manual inputs at all levels, and other technological suggestions to strengthen results collation, and introduce results collation at the electoral area, affixing ballot boxes to tables or stands in a bid to avoid ballot box snatching, are also going to be further deliberated upon. Well, so we know that the National Democratic Congress was not at this particular IPAC meeting from which all these fallouts came. My colleague Parker Wilson has been following the event and joins us. Parker, we know that the NDC has stated earlier that they won't be part of any process by the Electoral Commission to review the 2020 elections. We also understand that later today there's going to be a press conference by the party. Tell us what you've gathered.
Okay, so Bernice, clearly the NDC has maintained that the 2020 elections were flawed, and as a matter of fact, any meeting to review the 2020 polls, they would not participate in it. In fact, they have accused the EC of bias towards the governing NPP, and they are, in spite of the court ruling, the NDC is still convinced in their mind that the elections were rigged in favor of the NPP, and says it lacked candor. And of course, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission also did not demonstrate good faith. And that is the reason the NDC decided to boycott this meeting. Now, let me put it on record that this meeting was supposed to be held on last week, Thursday, but unfortunately, that was the holiday. And so it was postponed to just Tuesday and then Wednesday. Now, even with that, my sources at the commission tells me that they have been engaging the NDC to at least court their support, because they are very important and critical stakeholders in elections in this country. They are the largest opposition party currently as we speak, and they have the huge numbers in parliament. Of course, you know that is a split parliament now, hang parliament, the NPP and the NDC. So they were expecting that the NDC would rescind on the decision to attend this meeting. But however, that did not happen. Well, the EC says that in spite of the NDC's exclusion in this meeting or the engagement, they will still go ahead. So they indeed went on with the meeting, and this is the outcome. So the question many are asking is that, is it going to be binding the NDC with all the proposals and the adoption and resolutions after this particular meeting? We know that today at 2 p.m., the NDC has advertised a press conference essentially to also highlight their issues as far as the 2020 polls is concerned. We are told that they are going to assess the achievement chalked by the EC in the 2020 polls, and again, some of the proposals and adoption that were taken or agreed upon at the meeting. So at 2 p.m., we'll get to understand the position of the NDC, particularly on two key issues. One, starting time for the polls and ending, because the parties unanimously, and if you read the EC communique, just to quote, it says that the parties unanimously agree that the poll should start at 7 a.m. and close at 3 p.m. However, we are told that if by 3 p.m. people are still in the queue, they will be given an opportunity to cast their ballot until the last person does that. So if at 3 p.m. you're in the queue, you'll be given the opportunity to like 4 p.m. or 4:30, then they end the post. That is when the counting will begin. But we need to get to know of the position of the opposition NDC, and that is what they are going to state for us this afternoon at their press conference.
Parker, so if I get you right, at this press conference of the NDC, we expect that there will be some reaction to these reforms as they've been announced by the Electoral Commission.
Yes, obviously there will be reaction. In fact, the NDC is preparing, my sources that they are preparing a detailed response to the communique. But they are going to do bullet points one by one, take the reforms one after the other, and in their own words, punch holes and make a strong statement as to why they are going to reject it. But then again, there are those who have said that you were invited to a meeting, you did not show up. The parties, together with the Electoral Commission, have taken a decision. Whether you like it or not, it must be binding on you. So in the coming days, it will be very interesting. Let's see how it plays out after the NDC come up with their press conference today to do their own assessment of the electoral reforms as announced by the Electoral Commission.
We'll leave this here. Thank you very much, my colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson, telling us information he's gathered on the NDC's failure to attend this CAF meeting and what we should expect from the party later today. But they're just some of the agreed proposals that I couldn't run through earlier. And they had to do with, like he mentioned, the polls closing at 3 p.m. instead of 5. The certified regional collated results being announced by the chairperson to reduce tension and suspicion. However, the commission should state clearly the percentage of results yet to be released. Also, this is very interesting, fixing ballot boxes to tables in a bid to avoid ballot snatching. And also, security around elections is the responsibility of the Ghana Police Service, and the Ghana Police Service should arrange a periodic platform to engage IPAC and other stakeholders. The Ghana Police Service should provide updates on the 2020 election malpractices and violence. And you know, your election headquarters brought you all those details about people who were shot, those who lost their lives during the 2020 elections, and other issues of crime or alleged crime. So this was agreed at IPAC that the Ghana Police Service should provide updates on those malpractices and violence, and political parties and the media must show commitment to the democratic process and be mindful of their comments, as some of these statements have the tendency to provoke violence and inflame tensions and suspicions. Well, we were booked to speak to the Director of Electoral Services of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sribo Kwaku. Unfortunately, we were unable to get through to him at this time. When we do so, we'll come back to this story. But what we've told you now is what are the fallouts from that two-day IPAC meeting, which the NDC did not attend.